Hi everyone, this is Pooja and we are back again. We're going to have a live session and discuss short films with Saameer Mody from Pocket Films. As you might know, we have Pocket Films. I think you have to send me a request to join and then I can add you into the conversation. Yay, there you are. In a minute, we will have Saameer Mody with us, and we're going to talk. Hey, Saameer, how are you?
Hey, Pooja, hi. How are you?
I'm good.
Long time.
Very long time. I've been telling Namrata that I miss those old days of bumping into you and Goa at Iffy at all.
True, true. Absolutely, at all the places.
And I'm just glad that in this world of staying connected from far away, we have you here with us. So thank you so much for joining.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming on board and joining us as our very first, collaboration partner with the Bandra Film Festival and Pocket Films. We're really, really
It's our pleasure, yes.
to have you guys. I know pretty much everyone knows you guys have been doing this for many years. But I'd love for you to tell us. It's been, what, 10 years? At least I've known that you guys have been running Pocket Films.
Sorry, just a minute. I lost your voice.
No worries, no worries. I was saying, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I said, I know that I've probably known you for what, 10 years now, with everything that you've been doing and in different ways and shape and form that we've been part of this industry. But tell us a little bit, like, how many years has it been since you've been, running Pocket Films as we know it today?
Yes, basically been with, we started Pocket Films in around 2010.
Wow. 12 years?
In the earlier avatar, we were a company called One Take Media and we were doing different things. But distributing short films is something that we started in 2009. And 2010-11 onwards, we rebranded ourselves to Pocket Films. And we've been on this journey of distributing short films since then.
It's a really great name.
Much before actually short films became a fancy word.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think from what I know, I remember we produced our first short film in 2010, which was Pyle's film, Grand Street Shaving Company. And it was still a world when short films didn't really mean much. They were at max a calling card for a writer-director to show what their worth is. Unlike today, where it is an entire sort of market in itself. There are audiences and there are platforms like yourself that only cater to this very unique genre of filmmaking. How have you seen this change in the last 10 years and why do you think it's changed?
It has changed substantially, and as I've said on many such forums earlier, we're still seeing the early days of it. So it's not like we are in our peak or prime as yet. I feel short films have a long way to go even now, but they've already come a long way from where they were, in the early days of 2009, 10, 11. We've seen this major change is in the acceptance of this genre by the audiences at large. So, short films were a format in the festival circle or, calling card within the industry where people knew about it. But for the general public, I think it's become a more accepted genre only with the penetration of the mobile internet. And with, of course, 3G and then 4G and so on. So basically what has happened is audience attentions have been reducing. People want snacky content. They want good content in a very short period of time. And hence, we've seen this consumption grow so much that this kind of, it started being recognized as a format and as a space. And early days, but not an industry as yet, but something which I would say is where we want to head.
Yeah.
that it should become an end in itself. Short film, as much as it is a stepping stone to doing something next,
Hmm.
it should hopefully be a destination in itself.
Absolutely. No, I think you're absolutely right. I think the internet, the mobile, and that entire sort of revolution that happened made it easier for people to not only like discover but then also consume this content very freely, which was mostly not behind a paid wall, as we mostly know the
Yeah,
long form content to be in. So in the last 12 years almost of Pocket Film,
yeah.
you must have seen a lot of talent come to you with their very first film, who has probably done a lot since then and then gone on to make their features and do other things. Tell us
Oh,
a story of
absolutely,
someone
absolutely.
that you know, that you know you remember from the early days that you've been a part of the journey with.
No, there are quite a few filmmakers who have actually graduated into making, either full form features or making a web series or producing more and more content. Like I still remember in the very early days of Pocket Films, we got this film directed by Shlok Sharma.
Mm-hmm.
It was produced by Anurag Kashyap, and he was assisting Anurag at that point in time.
Yeah,
And we started distributing that film. And then I think over time, he's been making films and he's got a lot of popularity and visibility.
of course.
Devashish Makija, he actually already was working in the space. Then he made a few short films, and then we started distributing some of his short films. In fact, he also produced one of our first, or directed one of our Pocket Films' first short film production,
Hmm.
was by Devashish. And I think, of course, I would not definitely take credit for all these talented directors, but it just feels happy that we played a small role somewhere in bringing and throwing a spotlight on their work and
Absolutely.
helping them grow in the journey.
Absolutely.
So basically, talent gets recognized at times. What is important is just getting them out there. And even if we've played like a small role in that, it's what is the most satisfying part of even our journey.
Absolutely. Like, we've been like distributing others' films, and that's how like we reached Delhi Crime with Richie, because we've known him,
Absolutely.
and those relationships, I feel like, come full circle, because if you believe in someone and you believe in their ability to tell a story convincingly, you almost like attach yourself to that journey of getting their very early films. And short films, honestly, for me, are like the hardest part of someone's very early time, of where they go out there for the very first time, telling their story, putting themselves out there. And
Yeah.
I'd say, unless they have a partner like you who can really, lift them and showcase them, it's a very difficult road ahead for short films. But if I hear correctly now, you're also then producing, right? Some of these newer films.
Yes, so we're taking baby steps towards production. I mean, it was ultimately going to be an eventual step that we would take, but as much as we're happy distributing, you realize that at some point in time there is some kind of content or some kind of creator that you believe in,
Mm.
and then you say, you know what, let's give it a shot. And we've started producing. So we had co-produced a web series, which we actually sold it to another OTT platform.
Okay.
Just from the point of view of understanding, like a couple of creators came to me, we have this great idea and we need a certain budget. And I said, okay, fine, let's work together. Let's make this bigger than what you anticipated, and let me see if I can figure out the funds.
Yeah.
And we kind of worked together. We co-produced it. We sold it to a platform. It is called Hankar, which is on Hangama now, Bollywood Hangama.
Nice.
And so that was one step. Then we produced a few short films, which we are distributing ourselves. So the idea is to taking baby steps, trying to understand the production world as well. Though, very frankly, we don't actively engage in day-to-day.
I lost you in between there.
Hello. Yeah.
Hmm.
Are you there? Can you hear? Yeah. So that was the intent, that trying to see get our hands into it and see, like, as a distributor, and I mean, the journey well. You started off as a distributor and now are producing some amazing content, though in different spaces, but definitely the journey is pretty similar.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
like you distribute content and then you get a certain sense of, maybe this kind of stuff would work.
Yeah.
And then when a creator comes in and, things match, you say, okay, you know what, let me give it a shot.
Yeah.
So let me fund it, produce it, and see how it goes.
I think for us also, and I'm sure for you, a lot of filmmakers are very passionate about telling certain stories that they're drawn to. But what happens is that, they don't necessarily have like producers or business people looking at recoveries, even if they had people fund it, like what happens after that? Where do you go to distribute? How do you go into recoveries? Because for me, that's part of the cycle. If you want to keep making content, you have to make content, you have to monetize that content, you have to be able to showcase that content, and then you can, keep going, repeating that circle, whether with shorts or features after that. But, a lot of filmmakers that I come across sometimes, just know the creative aspect of it so well, but they don't really get the business side of it. So is there a business side to the shorts? Like, have you been able to like see in these years, has the potential to be able to monetize on short films or even just recover the investment for some of these filmmakers? Is that now a reality, not just a dream?
I would say it is still somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically what you said is absolutely apt. Most creators are just focused on the creative side of the
Yeah.
content. But at the end of the day, we all realize that it's economics which make it sustain.
Mm-hmm.
The content has to make money as much as, creatively satisfying it is. Beyond a point, you cannot proceed if it's not recovering monies for you.
Yeah.
And so it is a challenge. Of course, we are seeing recoveries for quite a few people, quite a few of our creators. But, and frankly speaking, that was also, so how it all started in a sense was that many a times some creators would come to us and say, you know what, we want to make this film and this is the X budget. And then I would say, you know what, creative vision is yours. But let me tell you, the economics don't work. So however great your story is, unless you say that, monies don't matter to me, I just want to tell this story, it's a different aspect. Then we are here as distributors. But if you say that no, monies are important, then we need to work somewhere in between.
Yeah.
We need to make it work where there is at least a potential we can see for recoveries of money. And of course, while you keep your creative vision intact.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a tough act to kind of balance.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why, we also thought of getting and, putting our feet in production was from that point of view. Because many a times I would sit across a creator and say, you know what, hey, this is a great idea, but I don't think it works.
Mm-hmm.
So what works?
Right.
There's a question. So then we would say ABC, but again, there are no guarantees.
Sure.
So we kind of thought, you know what, let's try and do something. Let's put money where our mouth is.
Yeah.
If we believe that this kind of content can potentially work, and if some creator has a potential idea which there is, similar to what we feel, let's fund it.
Yeah.
And let us put our money and see, where it works. And we kind of try get a balance where we know that, putting an X amount of money, there is a possibility of recovering. First step is recovery, profiting from it comes much later.
Yeah.
But the intent is at least that, at least how much money that we put in, at least if we can recover that, then it starts becoming a viable funding business model.
Yeah.
Like you said, one might get investors, but at the end of the day, or backers, I would not call them investors. Investors want return on investment.
Yeah.
Backers are supporting your creative vision.
Sure.
So while backers have been there and trying to see if we can kind of convert short filmmaking into an investment where that you put in money and there is a likelihood of recovery.
Yeah.
Much like mainstream content, there is no guarantees in our industry.
Of course.
But at least one knows that, in a mainstream content, you bet X or you do, you check a few boxes and there is a likelihood of recovery. Whereas, so trying to
Sure.
bring that kind of a model into short films as well, where we kind of feel that, at least if a majority of the investment-backed content that we create
Hmm.
is able to recover money.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to take a
So,
pause, and for anybody here who wants to know how to get in touch with you, you can please email. Shwetal's just put the link. It's distribute@pocketfilms.in. Send them an email with content. There's somebody here who said he has a finished project, a full series. I don't know, Viral Palan, if that is something that, Saameer, you want to comment. Are you guys looking at Gujarati language film with lead cast Hetal Punitala kind of stuff? Are you looking at, full finished, shows, or is it still features? Because short films. Because I know you do documentaries, you do a bunch of different things, but are you expanding to go more into, other kinds of stuff now?
oh, absolutely. So web series is a kind of a natural extension to short films.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely open to looking at web series, even completed projects. And of course, language, we've always been language agnostic. So we accept content in all languages. In fact, even today, apart from Hindi and English, we have got a bulk of our catalog in Marathi, Bengali, Tamil, and a number of other languages. So uh, language is not a bar for us. Of course, we look at English subtitles for all, but otherwise, language is not a bar. We're definitely open to all languages and definitely open to looking at web series as well
Great.
for distribution. Because I think what we feel is that, while again, Netflix has a web series which is typically 40 minutes to an hour, short film content, 10, 15 minute, basically, which is a linear storytelling. In a web series is something of that sort, 15, 20-minute episodes running into 5, 6, 10 episodes is ultimately a bunch of short films put together, in a sense, of course, with the linear storytelling.
Yeah.
But even like what we have attempted just before COVID was an initiative where we took a few of our catalog films, short films, bunched them together as anthologies. And in partnership with PVR Wakao, we even released them theatrically across India.
Oh, that's lovely.
So we did a couple of these initiatives before COVID struck and theater shut down. So unfortunately, kind of got nipped in the bud.
Sorry, my phone fell down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No issues.
Just
So it kind of got nipped in the bud, but yeah, so those are the kind of things that we want to do because we feel that, anthologies, again, as a concept, has been working on even the major platforms like Prime and Netflix. But we really feel that anthologies, and there is an audience for every kind of content in every different platform.
Yeah.
So, even initially when we were working on it and releasing the content theatrically, and there was this debate where then should it be available online if we are going to charge people to come and watch it in theaters? And my argument then was also, ultimately there are different pockets of audiences who consume content differently.
Yeah.
So if there is a piece of content which is available for free on, say, YouTube, for example, and if that same content packaged differently is behind the paywall on Netflix, there is a huge likelihood that audiences will lap it up more on Netflix because they are already going to that platform to consume that content. Like some of the some shows which are very popular on YouTube earlier, they have come to Netflix, and there has been a lot of acceptance of that. So much so that Netflix then even went on to produce subsequent seasons for them.
Sure. Yeah.
So, we just see, and that's what we also saw when we did these experiment of theatrical release of short films, where we saw that, there is an audience. Of course, it was early days, so the numbers were not that large, but there is an audience who would pay the 200, 250 rupees for a ticket to come and watch a compilation of 5, 6 short films.
Yeah.
Curated together by us for that.
Yeah.
We've even curated such anthologies for film festivals. And when I've been to one in a couple in Germany, and where I have seen that German audiences would pay a good 5-7 euros to come and watch a compilation of curated shots.
Sure. Yeah.
So there is definitely an audience. It's just needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, let's face it, even when we started distributing this content digitally, it took us almost 4 or 5 years before even we as a company could start meeting our own expenses, forget for the creators to start recovering the funds that much.
Sure.
So it's a process, but one has to begin somewhere.
Where do you think film festivals, which have taken a bit of a beating in the last 2 years, the pandemic, many went online, things like the Bandra Film Festival came
Yeah.
online, but who were, I festivals?
Sorry, I'm losing you. I'm losing you a bit.
Sorry, I said, I
Yeah.
think that the last 2 years of the pandemic, when the film festival, which were the major platform where you go to showcase their films and were acquiring and picking up rights from where I saw them. But since those festivals have slowed down and or have been like, what have the
No, again, I don't know whether it's my connection or yours, but I got bits of what you were saying. So just to say that from a festival perspective,
yeah
I think, see, of course, the last 2 years have impacted festivals majorly, and they were one of the outlets for expression of this creative talent and getting, visibility as well as acknowledgement for peers. But I feel that, it is particularly from a short film space, features may be slightly different, but from a short film space, I think it is important, and what will now emerge is like the Bandra Film Festival. It is going to become a norm of having a kind of a hybrid festival where physical will exist, but I think so will the online world. And in fact, it has been kind of a passion project for us to work on, and we are still working on. Tech is proving to be a bit of a challenge for us, but the intent here is to create a singular destination for festivals where we encompass everything from the, launching of a festival by an organization up to the receiving the entries and going all the way up to the final exhibition of an online in the online world. We are creating that kind of an ecosystem for festivals. It should be done sooner than later. It's just something which is work in progress, and the pandemic and so on and so forth did not help us in closing the loop on that. But it is definitely a passion project, and we will sort it out. So the intent is how we can make the lives easy for festival organizers and creators, as well as the festival going public.
excellent.
So trying to create that complete digital solution for the entire space. And yeah, let's see, hopefully we should do it sooner than later. It's just a matter of developing the tech for it.
Yeah. No, good luck with that. I think it's very needed, and complete 360 for a filmmaker who wants to, sort of go through the festival circuit, and which can be a bit of a circus, applying and getting in and sending submissions and materials, and then also if you're there as a distribution partner as well, it strengthens the whole experience for all of them. So that's brilliant, taking it a step forward and building that whole technology.
Yeah, exactly. So basically today we are in a very tech-led world, and what we are intending to do is building a completely digital content ecosystem where we are as Pocket Films, we are with the creators at every stage of their process, from helping them create to helping them in the festivals, getting acknowledgement, and then ultimately distribution and monetization.
Yeah.
So we're building that whole ecosystem That's the vision. That's the aim that we want to work on.
Well,
And
Peter, who runs the Bandra Film Festival, has a question saying, do offline festivals provide? I have my opinion on it, but in spite of the fact we run offline film. But what are your thoughts?
no, definitely. See, what happens is typically when in such places where we have two platforms, always the discussion is one will take over the other.
Mm.
It's never that.
Yeah.
It's always both will coexist, both have their advantages and both have their disadvantages. Ultimately, it's evolution which works. So for example, in offline, I think it is immense satisfaction for a creator to showcase his film in an offline festival and see the reactions of their viewers online and engage with them.
Correct.
And as much as online that we try, there is a certain satisfaction level which is going to be there in terms of engagement on an offline world.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the real is true that in an offline world, in an engagement in a festival which has got full attendance, you're engaging with 100 people.
Yeah.
Where in a digital world, and 100 people in a particular location.
On a date.
Whereas in an online world, you are global. You could be engaging with a much larger audience and getting your feedback from all over the world. So each has its pro and con.
Sure.
It's not like one is going to overpower the other, or offline festivals are dead because online festivals are here. It's never going to be that.
Yeah.
But
let me.
I personally feel that there are advantages. Yeah. Sorry, please.
No, I completely agree with you. It summed it up absolutely brilliantly. There's a human connection. There is those Q&As that you have at the end of a screening, and sometimes they are just so much more powerful, not just for the audience, but also the filmmaker to be able to do that, to see those reactions. But then again, I remember, when we opened the film festival, the Bandra Film Festival, our first film was Frozen, Shivaji Chandra Pooja's film. And the first day it had 100,000 views. And he called us. He said, I've been to 32 festivals. I've had 30 people watch my film over the earlier film. And we have to open with something that's beautiful. And but 100,000 views, like, Pooja, what is, like, I have not in my life imagined that 100,000 people will watch my film. Completely body. You just gave it a new life.
Yeah, I think I could just to add to that. There is this an award-winning film we recently released called The Disguise. It has been to multiple festivals and it released, and it got a lot of recognition also. And then in October 21, we released it online on Facebook. And the film has got what I think last I saw some 22 million views on Facebook within 3 months.
Wow.
And the kind of conversations that it has generated.
Yeah.
It's that's what we are trying to do, not take over. Do your festival circuit, be happy with that, and then come here and then leverage the benefit of the reach that we have created as a platform and benefit the reach of the digital distribution, and then connect that much more. It's not either or. There are creators who come and tell us, oh, so should we send to a festival or should we give it to you? I said, do both.
Yeah.
Why should it be either or?
Yeah.
Send to a festival, and then we are here. Give it to us for distribution.
Complimentary.
Eat the cake and have it too. Yeah, it's not. It's never a case of one over the other.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we are a creator first company.
Yeah.
So we want to see how our creator benefits before every which way.
Sure. I feel like there was a time when festivals compete with each other. You wanted the premieres, they wanted to be the first one, world premiere, Asia premiere, North America premiere. That kind of was just self-fulfilling for them at some level, and that's fine if that was their mandate. They wanted the best, they wanted to be the first. But I think that's they're putting the creator first. They're putting themselves first. So When someone like you comes along who says, do what you think is right. We're here. We're not saying that if you go there, we won't, sort of welcome your product, which I think is the kind of an environment and the kind of support you need when you're a short filmmaker to know that, okay, I have this opportunity, whether I choose to go with an offline festival, online festival, no festival or 20 festivals, you still want at the end of the day, those specific sort of dates and regions, the ability to mass reach audiences, which can only be online. I mean, you can't try to say that, oh, I'm going to get my eyeballs by playing, which we have already seen. So it is a sort of very happening meet and like yours, where you have the sort of catalog and the sort of what like this of the what
I'm losing you. Just a minute. I'm losing you. Let me see. I'll just try and change my connection.
yeah, because I'm on 5 bars, 5 wings, 5, all of that stuff. All right, looks like Saameer got dropped, but I'm here waiting for him to come back so we can connect him. But I know that there are a bunch of people who have told me about their film. And Bobby, I think you're one of them. At Risk is the name of your film, and we will definitely watch it.
Okay. Sorry for that. I
No,
don't
no,
know what it was, but
I just tried to go through some comments in the meantime and hear what people were saying so that we can reply to them. And totally a different question. And just for the sake of hearing your thoughts, what do you think, since you talked about the anthology and you release theatrical, you're looking at doing things with other sort of paid platforms as well of putting content. What do you think about the kind of anthologies from the well-known directors that are coming, whether it's Love Stories, Zoya and Prague and Bhagar, and all that, with 20 minutes sort of anthology? What do you think after you've done a feature and work with big stars, you can actually stay true to a short form content when you have to like what them that genre, or what are your thoughts?
so again, I think again I lost you a bit. But what I sense is that you're asking, is that or 20-minute anthologies do you think will work on the larger platforms even with known directors
Yes.
or without? Okay. See, I think ultimately anthologies as a storytelling experience is really fun. And
Mm-hmm.
we've seen some really well-made anthologies which have even been very, very successful on the larger platforms. So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, what I feel is that audiences are always just looking for some interesting content.
Mm-hmm.
The format does not matter, the genre does not matter as long as the content is well told and engaging. So when basically, and I feel, uh, definitely has the potential of engaging audiences both worlds because see, I think it would be a general experience a show which you don't know about on Netflix or any other platform. One of the thoughts, of course, at the back of your mind is what is the commitment it's going to take? How many seasons, how many episodes, and how long is each episode? So, do I help to 10 hours of this content? Uh, Whereas, option of bite-sized episodes, looking at it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Remember what happened last time.
I'm really
So,
losing.
oh shit, I don't know whether, is it my connection or is it, because I changed my connection as well.
I don't.
Um,
Uh, it's isolated, but I feel out. But
Yeah, I don't know. Is this better now? I've
it's
just shut the Bluetooth.
yeah. No, this is better. You're not going in and
Okay.
out.
Okay. Yeah. So, what was I saying? Yeah. I know. I definitely think that well-made content, even 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever, with known directors. And see, one thing is accepted that known directors and known faces will always add value to the product.
Yeah.
There is no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so while that, I mean, frankly speaking, there are a couple of such ideas that we've been toying with since pretty long time in terms of getting known directors and creating a content. But the way there is a product which we have designed a project where we're saying we want to even challenge the directors.
Mm-hmm.
So let them be known directors, but create an inbuilt challenge into the product content to make it exciting for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have been in conversation with a well-known feature film director, and he's been on jury of some of our festivals. And he once really he said, I've been making so many films, but still the thought of making a short film and telling a compelling story in 10 minutes, 15 minutes sounds pretty daunting to me. So I am really all praises for all these creators who can actually tell a story
Yeah.
and complete it within 10 minutes, because I'm used to the 90-minute, 100-minute format. Now, how do I say that same story in 10 minutes? It's a challenge for me.
Sure.
So, there are a couple of talks which we had, which we want to see how we can, the known directors also should have a challenge as well as fun while
Mm-hmm.
creating that content. And I'm pretty sure that that would flow through into the content and audiences will also enjoy that concept. It's just the idea of uh, getting it together and putting the funding in place for that. But the potential, I feel, is definitely there.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I with whoever this is who finds it daunting, because I sometimes feel like the short films may seem like the easiest to pull off in execution just because they're limited in their time. So resources required are limited. But I think from a screenwriting perspective, from actually direction, the amount of material you need to put into it, even if it is a simple story, but for it to be effective, it needs to be almost 10 times more thought through than a 100-minute film. You know, you have
Absolutely.
the ability to play with time there, to build, to have setup, to have your three acts. But in your shorts, you need to get to it. And I was watching, like, some of your films that we've been showing, and I think Cheers is going live soon. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Shweta and Anand is utterly gorgeous. Like, on some level, it's so simple, but yet it's so deep. And so to be able to get that emotional and get engaged, push, never forget that. You can't just make it all serious and then, you lose your audiences. So I thought it was, the filmmakers are getting really amazing. Detour was another one with Shayoni and Vikrant that I thought, brilliant.
Yes.
Little capsules of life. You get in and get out of someone's life. It's almost voyeuristic that you get a peep into a person. And either, there was an old school saying that if you can relate to a character in a film, that'll be successful. I feel like you don't need to do that. If it's convincing, you can still step into someone's life whether you relate or not. And these two short films actually did that so beautifully. I was amazed. And it's a joy to see, like you were saying, these known faces, people like Shayoni and, Vikrant, even Shifali, like, that they're delving and putting their craft, however daunting it may be for a director, it's daunting for an actor too. But if the material,
Absolutely.
these people can come up with something that's convincing, can hold your attention, can actually entertain you, but still have something profound that leaves you sort of thinking later on. I think that's amazing, and these are your curations. So congratulations. I mean, there's some brilliant stuff in there, and I'm just so happy to see that there's this caliber, there's hope, there's something to look forward to for the kind of content that our country and our filmmakers will be doing in the years to come. It's brilliant. So it must be a happy place to be in the middle of all this super exciting stuff coming your way.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what it is. It is so satisfying to see uh, creators creating some amazing content and then playing that little role in trying to give visibility to such content and visibility to those creators.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it's like we've been doing this since more than now 12 years. And we've seen the ability of these creators to even the improvement in storytelling, I would say, is substantial.
Yeah.
So, it's this a mix of, exposure to a lot of content that now they are seeing, which kind of helps these creators also tell themselves. But there is some amazing talent which is available, and we're talking talent in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a limited few here and there.
Yeah.
We today are distributing content created by more than 3,500 creators. So
That's
but there is a lot of talent pool available, and one of the other challenges which typically gets unnoticed, particularly when we are creating content, short films, for digital space, and the primary difference between even say Netflix, forget digital, but I'm talking about our platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms, and Netflix. Netflix is watching Netflix is generally intent driven.
Mm-hmm.
You are sitting in front of probably a TV or your laptop, wherever, with an intent of really consuming content, like watching TV or like going to a cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas consumption of short films is more of a snacking kind of content. So the challenge here is, engaging the audience in the first few seconds.
Mm.
The creators don't have the liberty of knowing that their audience is sitting on a chair and has the time. So let me develop or move into the story.
Mm-hmm.
And moving into a story, even taking a minute and a half, is too long in today's digital world.
Mm.
You need to capture and engage the audience in the first few seconds. And for creators to be able to do that is the most challenging part.
Yeah.
And I think, that's when we have been discussing, and some creators come to us and what do we do? And I said, what, your first frame needs to be very, very impactful. Now, how you turn your storytelling around, it's very easier to me for me to give this gyan. But to creatively put it in a way where they are able to address this concern while still tell the story that they want to, that's where I know some of these creators have really excelled.
Yeah.
And that's how it becomes that much more challenging.
Sure. No, I think they're learning from also what they're seeing. There's this whole movement, I feel, of the new kind of cinema that's being made, that's being consumed. I think one of the bigger problems in our country was that I felt like for 100 years we trained an audience to look for masala, to look for Bollywood, and we almost need to start feeding little doses of the good stuff to convert and feed those who want something else. And thankfully now with your platform and 3,500 creators that you're showing content of, I think you need those numbers. It cannot happen with arbitrarily, go to YouTube and look for it and try to hope that you'll discover something good. I think that curatorial sort of lens is required for these films so that people can actually come to a place and also then want to be a part of that movement. So I think you've done that, you've championed that, and you've been a beacon of everything shorts for as long as I can imagine. I don't know anybody else who does as well as you guys do, and there are very few people, and I'll say this with all, you know, my heart crossed, there are very few people who do this, you know, with the right intent. They do it because they believe in it, because they absolutely want to be, you know, instrumental in bringing about that change. And I've known you for as many years that I've known. I truly believe that you're one of those guys who, you know, is one with every creator. It's not, you know, a money making kind of, you know, some app and this and that, things come and go, but you've been here, and I'm so happy that, you know, today we're working with you and we're bringing some of the pocket films to the Bandra Film Festival, and hopefully vice versa. You know, we can hope to, you know, build and collaborate and create an avenue for even people like us who do slightly similar things, but we're never competing. We're always complementing each other, because it's not about pocket films, it's not festival, it's about the creators, it's about the films. It's always, you know, them first and reaching audiences, and that's really where, you know, the intentions matter. So I'm just really so happy and so proud that, you know, we're working with you on this. And just like Cheers and Detour, Cheers I think it went live today, so people will get to see that soon. But I'm sure that we'll have a lot more content coming from you to the festival. And if there's anything, you know, we can do. But once again, if anybody watching here wants to be a part of the Pocket Films journey, wants to get their content distributed, which could be any language, it could be short films, it could be documentaries, or even finished web shows, you can send an email to distribution@pocketfilms.in and give them the details. You have to submit your full film on the website, and hopefully, if you're good and lucky, you have to be a bit of both, right? To be a this engine. I think it's absolutely you know, a great way for all of us to come together to make this movement sort of go down the right path. If there's anything you want to tell us that we're doing right, wrong, please go ahead. We're all open, feedback, whatever. More than happy. We're learning. I mean, we've run film festivals, and I've been a part of the IAC, as you know. But, you know, when this came around, it was literally one of those things where I felt like when I ran the festival 10 years ago, films would come and go and be forgotten. You know, that one screening in New York on that one day, 35 people or 300 people would come and see it, and that's it. And for us, it was just this opportunity to present all of this content that went unnoticed in the last 10 years, because all of that stuff came before this so-called digital boom of being able to distribute stuff. And that's why we were like, you know, you guys have some of the most amazing content, so we should absolutely look to see how we can highlight and create, you know, a portfolio of content coming from Pocket Films to the festival as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are always kind of, as I said, you know, looking at opportunities and associating with people, companies, organizations, wherever we are putting the spotlight on short films. Because, like, as much as we distribute other content, we are short films, if I may put it that way. Pocket Films is short films. We love that format, we love that genre, and just happy to be associated with Bandra Film Festival, who's again putting the spotlight on good short film content. And I think it's just a win-win for everybody.
Yeah,
it's a win-win for this format, the genre, the creators getting visibility. I think that's what it is all about.
yeah. I want to leave on a parting note for anybody out here who hears this chat, even for posterity. We know if it's ready, they can write to you, but is there any learning for when you're setting out, like you just said, you know, in that first frame and that first, you know, minute to grab the attention? Is there anything else you want to share of what kind of stuff they, the filmmakers need to be thinking about as they venture out into making maybe their first or their third film, like genres or talent or writing or anything. What from your mind are like the sort of holy grails of what works?
So I think the first thing, of course, is create content that you really like and believe. That is first. Now, in terms of primarily creating the content and particularly from a distribution and visibility point of view, the first thing I said is, of course, your first few seconds need to be engaging. Secondly, is keep your script tight. Keep
Yeah.
it. Your editing is very, very important because people get enamored by the big mainstream creators and move in for a long kind of a long shot or a long journey before telling their actual story. That is not the short film space. So one needs to have a very clear mindset that you're creating content for a digital audience. This digital audience is a attention deficit, fast moving, swiping up within 2 seconds kind of an audience. So understand who you are creating the content for, and then go ahead and create. Because while a lot of people will say for sure that we want to say our story and our vision, but at the end of the day, you are creating that film for others to watch. You're not creating it to watch yourself in your living room. So when you want others to watch, there are a few elements that you need to include, and just have fun with it. I think that is very because it definitely reflects in the content. So if you just clear story, clear planning, knowing your audience, none of these are rocket science actually, but many a times, in the process it gets sidelined and something else gains importance. So if your focus is clear, I think it definitely reflects in the content.
Super. That's a great way to sum up everything for anybody who wants to go down this path of making films, and you're a wealth of knowledge. I'm sure they can reach you also and get more input. And you've been a champion, and I'm so proud that we're doing this together to in our little ways just be tiny little catalysts on the way for these stories to be told. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining today, and I'm sure that I will see you soon at a festival somewhere around the world.
Absolutely looking forward to that
Content, and
sure.
then discussing it for hours later. So thank you so much, Saameer.
And pleasure to associate with you on this. So always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.